Right again, what's up, what's up? Much peace out there to all the people chilling out here with sun right up on this deck. Adelaide love shining through with affection. Always. That's how it is, how I be. I'll be positive with my vibe, I'll be live with my vibe, I'll be creative, I'll be innovative. Gotta be concentrated, but in a way which is perceived and visualized at a maximum potential level. Now, we've all been here and experiencing different realm, or not different realm, but different experience of life through different vantage points, different views, different ages, different scopes. So, upon those uh, inundations, I might find myself prescribed to become a part of this online digitized realm. Now, it hasn't been part of a sort of inspiration, I guess you would say, of mine. Definitely always have the creative spark and wanted to be uh, of a not humanitarian, but just like peaceful sense. Not about, or I shouldn't say that. I guess I was about to say not about like getting it at the expense of somebody else, but I mean that's only going into my kind of past sort of 5 years of my life. As I sort of grew up in my teen years, I guess I probably couldn't say that. I did a lot of sort of things which were, you know, beneficial to me in the sense that I felt at the time, and I was gaining materialistic things, gaining societal, personal popularities, and such. But there was no probably substance in there, and a lot of those viewpoints may have been detrimental towards me. And I even think, looking back at it, and that's a view I have taken of it since I left. Uh, Basically, that environment um, is that it's not a positive. Like I left the country even to in the sense that I was destroying lives, not only my own, slowly. It was and it was leading to jail, death, or permanent injury of some sort. Not to be negative on that, but that's probably just part of I'm being honest, and this is like something that I need to come to terms with. Also, like I'm not saying I came from the worst background, not at all. Um, you know, being born here in Australia, having Fijian parents, and growing up like seeing the life that they led. It seems I've seen that difference in living standard of a developing country to a first world nation, but in the sense of living in a ghetto in the first world, that's probably an absolute no. I shouldn't say that at all. Couldn't say that. But for a lot of my teenage life and past up until the present, I've been familiar with a lot of the, uh, you know, not a lot, but I'm pretty to the criminal and justice system of Australia, which is probably something that's what to do. But don't see anybody's joined out live, but it's all good. Hope we are vibe and peace always. This is one time, that was a little reflection that I just had, as I always do. Things are pretty impromptu around here. Just trying to, uh, you know, keep it straight up, straight one. Be like, straight through, always on the mic. So, I mean, like, I'll be creative, I'll be doing my style thing. So, what it is, I thought, I'll do a bit of, once again, peace out. Word up to all the people up there. Hard up. I'm going to get it on through. You listen to Sunray up on shit if you didn't know now. Got a book in my hand. So not really something that pertain to do activities, reading books, but hey, I think it's pretty resonant among people who maybe view this. See that. Hopefully it does come out and not come backwards, but it's George Orwell. Title 1984. Right. So paperback version, obviously, but I think that's quite a famous book. I'm not sure if anybody out there has read that. If they do, it'd be good to drop a comment or something and see what you thought of it. I haven't actually finished it. I've read a few pages. What I was going to do is hopefully read a couple now, in the sense to give you a little gauge and insight into it. Since we're over it, I think what I could do in this sense, I mean, it'd take a while if I were to continue reading through all the chapters and try and finish the book, or I could say turn past. What I'll do is like, all right, I'll give you the wow, I can't even remember the word. That's quite terrible, isn't it? The assessment, the blurb. I'll give you the blurb on the back of the book. Right? I was thinking bibliography, but geez, and this may not even be the right. I'm referring to the assessment summary on the back of the book. Here we go. In 1984, the world is divided into three parts: Oceania, East Asia, and Eurasia, all perpetually at war. In Oceania, the party has created a totalitarian state that annihilates all opposition. In the forefront of the party stands Big Brother, a figure of almost mythical power. The story of Winston Smith's rebellion against the party, of his hatred of Big Brother, and of his thought crime, which must result in his destruction, was first published in 1949. Now in the 80s, our present, and Orwell's brilliantly imagined future, his vision of the brutalized and manipulated humanity is still gripping and still supremely relevant. Okay, so there was a little look into that. So I guess I'll go. I could start that. I mean, I was going to see if there was chapters involved, but just looking from it, doesn't really seem as there is. So I'll just probably hit it and give it a bit of a read up from there, and hopefully it's on the chat. Peace, Chappy. Much love, man, coming through. I just thought, I don't know if you can, I'm just going to do a bit of reading of this book, man. George Orwell. If you want to come and hit the link, you're more welcome. Come up and talk. Just doing a little jive. But I don't know if you heard of this book. Yeah, obviously. I just read that. So I'll give it a go, man. Here we go. Part 1. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Winston Smith, his chin nuzzled in his breast in an effort to escape the vile wind, slipped quickly through the glass doors of Victory Mansions, though not quickly enough to prevent a swirl of gritty dust from entering along with him. The hallway smelled of boiled cabbage and old rugrats. At one end of it, a coloured poster, too large for indoor display, had been tackled to the wall. It depicted simply an enormous face, more than a metre wide. The man The face of a man of about 45 with a heavy black mustache and ruggedly handsome features. Winston made for the stairs. It was no use trying the lift. Even at the best of times, it was seldom working, and at present the electric current was cut off during daylight hours. It was part of the economy drive in preparation for Hate Week. The flat was 7 flights up, and Winston, who was 39, had a verrucous ulcer above his right ankle. Went slowly, resting several times along the way. On each landing, opposite the lift shaft, the poster and enormous face gazed from the wall. It was one of those pictures which are so contrived that the eyes follow you when you move. Big Brother is watching you. The caption beneath it ran. Inside the flat, a fruity voice was reading out a list of features which had something to do with the production of pig iron. The voice came from an oblong metal plate, like a dulled mirror which formed part of the surface of the right-hand wall. Winston turned a switch and the voice sank somewhat. Though the words were still distinguishable. The instrument, the telescreen it was called, could be dimmed, but there was no way of shutting it off completely. He moved it over to the window. A smallish, frail figure, the meagrest of his body, merely emphasized by the blue overalls which were a uniform of the party. His hair was very fair, his face naturally sanguine, his skin roughened by coarse soap and blunt razor blades, and the cold of the winter that had just ended. Outside, even through the shut window pane, the world looked cold. Down in the street, little eddies of wind were whirling dust and torn paper into spirals, and though the sun was shining and the sky a harsh blue, there seemed to be no color in anything, except the posters that were plastered everywhere. The black mustachio face gazed down from every commanding corner. There was one on the house front immediately opposite. Big Brother is watching you, the captain said, while the dark eyes looked deep into Winston's own. Down at the street level, another poster, torn at one corner, flapped fitfully in the wind, alternately covering and uncovering the single word, Ingsoc. In the far distance, a helicopter skimmed down between the roofs, hovered for an instant like a bluebottle, and darted away again with a curving flight. It was the police patrol, snooping into people's windows. The patrols did not matter, however. Only thought police mattered. Behind Winston's back, the voice from the telescreen was still babbling away about pig iron and the overfulfillment of the ninth 3-year plan. The telescreen received and transmitted simultaneously. Any sound that Winston made above the level of a very low whisper would be picked up by it. Moreover, so long as he remained within the field of vision with the metal plaque commanded, he could be seen as well heard. There was, of course, no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. However, or on what system the thought police plugged in on any individual wire was guesswork. It was even conceivable that they watched everybody all the time. But at any rate, they could plug in your wire whenever they wanted to. You had to live, did live, from habit that became instinct, in the assumption that every sound you made was overheard, and except in darkness, every moment scrutinized. Winston kept his back turned to the telescreen. It was safer, though, as he well knew. Even a back can be revealing. A kilometre away, the Ministry of Truth, his place of work, towered and white above the grimy landscape. This, he thought, with a sort of vague distaste. This was London, chief city of Airship One, itself the most populous of the provinces of Oceania. He tried to squeeze out some childhood memory that would tell him whether London had always been quite like this, whether there always these vistas of rotting 19th century houses, their sides shored up with bulks of timber, windows with cardboard, their roofs with corrugated iron, the crazy garden walls sagging in all directions, and the bombed site where the plaster dust swirled in the air and the willow herb straggled over the heaps of rubble, and the places where the bombs had cleared large patch and there had sprung up of sordid colonies of wooden dwellings like chicken houses. But it was no use. He could not remember nothing remained of his childhood except a series of bright lit tableaux occurring against no background and mostly unintelligible. The Ministry of Truth, miniature in newspeak, was startlingly different from any other object in sight. It was an enormous pyramidal structure of glittering white concrete, soaring up terrace after terrace, 300 meters into the air from where Winston stood, and it was just possible to read, picked out its white face in elegant lettering, the three slogans of the party: war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. The Ministry of Truth contained, it was said, 3,000 rooms above ground level and corresponding ramifications below, scattered about London. There were just their other buildings of similar appearance and size. So completely did they dwarf the surrounding architecture. From the roof of Victory Mansions, you could see all four of them simultaneously. There were the homes of the four ministries between which the entire apparatus of the government was divided. The Ministry of Truth, which concerned itself with news, entertainment, education, and the fine arts. The Ministry of Peace, which concerned itself with war. The Ministry of Love, which maintained law and order, and the Ministry of Plenty, which was responsible for economic affairs. The names in newspeak: Mini True, Mini Pax, Mini Love, Mini Plenty. The Ministry of Love was the really frightening one. There were no windows in it at all. Winston had never been inside the Ministry of Love, nor within half a kilometre of it. It was a place impossible to enter, except on official business, and then on only by penetrating through a maze of barbed wire entanglements, steel doors, hidden machine gun nests. Even the streets leading up to its outer barriers were roamed by gorilla-faced guards in black uniforms, armed with joint truncheons. Winston turned around abruptly. He had set his features into the expression of quiet optimism, which it was advisable to wear when facing the telescreen. He crossed the room into the tiny kitchen, by leaving the ministry at this time of day. He had sacrificed his lunch in the canteen, and he was aware that there was no food in the kitchen except a hunk of dark coloured bread, which had got to be saved for tomorrow's breakfast. He took down from the shelf a bottle of colourless liquid with a plain white label marked Victory Gin. It gave off a sickly, oily smell, as of Chinese rice spirit. Winston poured out nearly a teacupful, nerved himself for a shock, and gulped it down like a dose of medicine. Instantly, his face turned scarlet, and the water ran out of his eyes. The stuff was like nitric acid, and moreover, in swallowing it in one, had the sensation of being hit on the back of the head with a rubber club. The next moment, however, the burning in his belly died down, and the world began to look more cheerful. He took a cigarette from the crumbled packet marked Victory Cigarettes and incautiously held it upright, whereupon the tobacco fell out onto the floor. With the next, he was more successful. He went back to the living room and sat down at a small table that stood to the left of the telly screen. From above the table, from the table drawer, he took out a pen holder of bottle ink and a thick quarto-sized blank book with red back and marbled cover. For some reason, the telescreen in the living room was in an unusual position. Instead of being placed, as was normal, in the end wall where it could command the whole room, it was in the longer wall opposite the window, to one side of it, where there was a shallow alcove in which Winston was now sitting, and which the flats were built, had probably been intended to hold bookshelves by sitting in the alcove and keeping well back. Winston was able to remain outside the range of the telescreen. So far out of sight he went. He could be heard, of course, but so long as he stayed in his present position he could not be seen. It was partly the unusual geography of the room that suggested to him that the thing that he was now about to do, but it had to also be suggested by the book that he had just taken out of the drawer. It was a peculiarly beautiful book. Its creamy paper, a little yellowed by age, was of a kind that had not been manufactured for at least 40 years past. He could guess, however, that the book was much older than that. He had seen it lying in the window of a frowsy little junk shop in the slummy quarter of the town. Just what quarter did not he not now remember, and had been stricken immediately by an overwhelming desire to possess it. Party members were opposed not to go in ordinary shops, dealing on the free market it was called, but the rule was not strictly kept, because there were various things, such as shoelaces and razor blades, which it it was impossible to get hold of in any other way. He had given a quick glance up and down the street, and then had slipped inside and bought the book for $2.50. At the time, he was not conscious of wanting it for the particular purpose. He had carried it in guiltily home in his briefcase, even in nothing written in it. It was a compromising possession. The thing that he was about to do was to open a diary. This was not illegal. Nothing was illegal, since there was no longer any laws. But if detected, it was reasonably certain that it would be punished by death, or at least by 25 years in a forced labor camp. Winston fitted a nib into the pen holder and sucked it to get out the grease off it. The pen was an archaic instrument, seldom used for signatures, and he had procured one fortifiedly and with some difficulty, simply because of a feeling that beautiful creamy paper deserved to be written on with a real nib instead of being scratched with an ink pencil. Actually, he was not used to writing by hand. Apart from very short notes, it was usual to dictate everything into the speakwrite, which was of course impossible for his present purpose. He dipped the pen into the ink and faltered for just a second. A tremor had gone through his bowels. To mark the paper was the decisive act. In small, clumsy letters he wrote, April 4th, 1984. He sat back. A sense of complete helplessness had descended upon him. To begin, he did not know one with any certainty that this war was 1984. It must be round about that date, since he was fairly sure that this age was 39, and he believed that he'd now been born in 1944 or 45, but it was never possible nowadays to pin down any date within a year or two. For whom it suddenly occurred to for whom it suddenly occurred to him to wonder, was he writing this diary for the future, for the unborn? For his mind hovered for a moment round the doubtful date on the page, and then fetched up with the bump against the newspeak word doublethink. For the first time, the magnitude of what he had undertaken came home to him. How could he communicate with the future? It was of its nature impossible. Either the future would resemble the present, in which case it would not listen to him, or it would be different from it, and his predicament would be meaningless. So, as you can see, into George Orwell's 1984, the first few pages into there. Just take a break. We can see Chappie, God Body, much peace, much peace. Hope you guys are still in there. If you guys want to hit the link, more than welcome, more than welcome. It's in the chat. It should be there anyway. I'll drop it down again. Yeah, what I was doing, I don't know. I was just opening up, and I thought I'd just read something for a while. But yeah, more keen on if anyone wants to jump up. But yeah. So that's the obviously, hopefully everybody's good. Good, like madness loves C, because I'm hoping that everyone's getting better in their um you know achievements, what they're trying to do, because as this time's going on, 2020 is coming up. It's already here. It's halfway through nearly. It's going to catch up fast. So you know no point in stagnating and just waiting in a sense of confusion, or wanting a direction of find your own sense and of being, and just you know try and internalize it, visualize it, you know picture the pathway, and then you manifest. Easier said than done, but you do it. Stay on the track, and don't let the distractions. You've got to find real people that are gonna help, but nobody's gonna help. You got to help yourself here, no doubt, and you got to show your value to others as like you know people are only gonna if you treat you with what you think you're worth. It's pretty sad to say, but it has got a truth to it. Like if you walk around very humbly and respectful, a lot of people are going to look at you and think, "Oh, this guy doesn't think much. He's just very quiet, introvert," and doesn't they'll take advantage. People with a very assertive personality may take over, um, and like that sort of behavior, I think, is something which you should walk away from. I mean, but if that is you, but still, you need to spark up yourself, and you need to engage. Find the right community, find different peers. Nowadays, we've got the internet. Check it out. You've got the whole world like at the tip of your pocket, man. You press a button, and you go to Wi-Fi. You can do so much, do so much. So you just got to look at it from a professional basis. I mean, just thinking now, like this is something which only the corporations of the newspaper, not even the newspaper, but the television, and the mass corporate media had from the decades between the 50s to the 80s up until the 90s. They like if you look at it, and this is the same technology kind of thing that they were using, such as StreamYard and stuff. Like you know, um, not such as streamer, but like open broadcasting systems. You can see that how they're scrolling text and different editing screens and all this stuff. Like we've got the capability here to run like a channel ABC News uh, from your laptop at home. But hey, not everybody's cup of tea is that. A lot of people just want to just listen too, I guess, and just find a way to vibe and be through, do what they want, and get some time off. A lot of people have been caught in the rat race. That's another thing I don't think of a lot at times, like because I've made it myself to be creative. Uh, I'm not caught in the system of the 9 to 5 rush. Like I know my family, my brother, and all these things, and my parents still obviously want to attain all that. But I'm really just been look. I work for my own time, set aside the time to create mix. Um, do work, do compositions, do performances, and nowadays, like even create projects and post, but that's quite like a gift, I guess. You know, to have the ability to do that. I thought it was quite easy most times, but to think now, I guess it is a special talent. But I think we all have a talent of some sort. Might not all be creative. Uh, might not all be about um, making art, writing, making music, but it could be cooking, it could be architecture, it could be motivating people, it could be the gym, um, cars, you know, uh, bird watching, something like there's so many things. Just find something which puts you at peace. Gives you a chance to be happy like you were as a child and be innocent. Um, So I'll drop in the house. What is up, my bro? Hold up, bruh. Hold up, bruh. You got that money on me? You best just pay me slowly. Don't move too fast. Bust at it. Nah, just jobbing. Much peace. Good to see you. Very happy. I just thought I'd bust it out. Obviously, the link's in the top. No one's hit it. I'll drop it again if you want to drop. Come up. I do hope everything's coming through clear and coming live in effect. Always positive vibes, always think. I started it off by like reading this book here, George Orwell, 1984. I like read the first few pages. I thought maybe, you know, something different. I might continue to do that over the little bit, but kind of was hoping for a bit of a discussion. But maybe people are busy, so that's all good. I mean, I just thought I'd pop up and jump up. As we got to do, we got to keep this presentation constant, man. Like we're out here trying to deliver positive messages, man. Like either wake people up or just entertain, or like it shouldn't be about um, like gaining your satisfaction. And it kind of is now, man. It's got to that stage where a lot of people are gaining their pleasures and satisfaction of life through things like this, hopping on streams and letting their voice out and like arguing with someone they've never met, never known, never seen, will never see, will never know in most cases over some topic which doesn't even really have any relevance to them. So it's like it's a complete like disengagement from reality. It's a total offset. So for some, that might be their medicine to get out. But hey, that's probably not a good way to say, because as they say, if you've got a problem, or you got to, the first thing to do is recognize that problem to fix it. So to turn a blind eye is always probably not the best option. But do what you do. We all do it. We take time, and we all get by. We're all doing what we're doing. Obviously, I did what I like in my 20s. I did to teens and 20s. Like I did quite a bit of a mess, but it's all experience. And even now, just my attitude is something that who would have thought I've got? 15 years ago, 10 years ago, who would have thought that I'd be thinking like this? No way. I was out there every night, so and just didn't care. Took it all for granted and just was like, yeah, fuck it, it's all good. We're gonna do it. Like I wasn't like in and out of jail and all nothing like all the time, crime and shit. Like, but not to say I'm gonna spend my fair share there. I've had a few like stint, but yeah, it's like now I moved city, moved state, just trying to get away from that. Like I left the country even before, and just like that kind of attitude changed me, because I found with the chemical scene of narcotics, like you're just killing people slowly, and even from everything from ecstasy pills all the way up to like heroin and cocaine and methamphetamine, like you know it's a slow process, like that these people are literally dying physically, mentally, and also you're destroying their families. They don't see it happening. You don't see it out, like well, maybe some of these dealers see it happening a lot of times. They obviously got to realize that, because they need them coming back for that money, and keep them going and shit, and then support their own habit, which is, hey, that's part and parcel of the world. But it's a reality. I mean, people, if you don't realize that's what it is. I mean, not all of the sense. There are senses of, and in probably the most biggest and dramatic sense, like it's not no sort of low-level junkie fellas running around or user fellas. People, it's like big wig, suit and tie, upper echelon corporate people who are running these multi-billionaire people who have got other sort of mainstream, mainline businesses, enterprises, but behind the scenes are funding all these operations. And that's probably no doubt. So, that's something that a lot of people should be clicking onto straight away, and that's going to turn the big picture around. Like the enemy is the suit and tie, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no doubt. 'Cause I said all the time, I said it before, where there's, like all the narcotics, there's no major production labs, manufacturing outlets in these places of ghettos, hoods, urban areas, man. Like, there is no place to manufacture this amount, produce this amount. Also, the firearms, there's no production facilities for, ammunition and all these things like that. So where do they come from? How do they, just supposedly um invented or created, and then just they end up in their hands, and then the pictures all pointed at the people who are doing the shooting, and then just selling it because all they're doing is just trying to get by, like, well, yeah, it's a bit of a, it's obviously you got people out there that are going to totally argue with me and think I'm an idiot like crazy for saying that, but it's just, there's plenty sides to a picture. And I can't really, as I say all the time too, like you can't imagine to find, um, the answer to everything. How could you expect to do, all these things in one stream, like let alone one sentence. How it's especially now that people will just write a line, a comment on their social media, uh, or on an open panel, and just think that, yo, I deserve so much rep. But hey, give it to them, I guess, but only got to do. Um, but yeah, I'm just ranting on here. Hopefully, this different stuff is coming through clear. I might just double check. Give me a sec. I'll hopefully be able to. Um, Shit, man, it's not at all. It's fucking coming through so whack. Alright, let's see what about now. I'm hoping now it's gonna be a bit better. I took a time out, like. Alright, okay, so there's this fucking solution. Um, yeah, sorry to that to everybody. There was a bit of a. Okay, no, it's not a solution. I don't know. Like, is it coming through clear, or is it mumbling or rattly? I'm not really sure what's going on. So if I could get somebody could hit like in the chat, it'd be pretty cool. Wait a minute. Where we at? Alright. If anybody is here watching, just like hit a 1 if it's coming through clear, or hit a 2 if it's coming through hell scratchy. The vocals, please. Or anything, or a scratch, or clear. Just like so I could have some idea. Alright. Much peace, much peace. We got a 1, so it's come through clear. It's 1 and 2. So is it on and off, I guess? 2. Scratchy. Scratchy. Fuck. And that's not good. That's not really what I was hoping for. I don't know why it is. It's plugged into an interface. Maybe it's the wrong interface, and like, yeah, that's a shame, man. That's a fucking shame. I don't know what the reason is. Phantom power's on. It's just coming through hell shaky. Shit. There's no point in really continuing. But if you have anyone, like, it'd be cool if you guys got time to hop up. If you're busy, that's fine. But I got to keep at it, I guess, and try and figure out what's going on. Thanks, most appreciation for the advice of the scratchiness. Technical difficulties. Yo. Okay. What's the difference? What's the difference now? Is it working at all or anything? Well, obviously not, because you got the output. Fuck. It's like slightly scratchy, and then I don't know what the deal is. Why is it? It could be where it's situated and there's electricity around it, or what? You know, see, it's hella scratchy. It goes in and out. Alright, what about that? I'm moving around, I'm doing things crazy, I'm testing. I don't know what even looks like, but nah, see, that's gonna sound whack. I can hear it already. This might sound a bit better. I don't know. When I come through StreamYard, it sounds odd. You know, really strange. If I run through OBS, shit sounds sweet. Should have fucking. Well, like, see this. Anyway. Yeah, I'll try the advice of plugging in and unplugging, but I've tried that, and like I could even try a different mic. So see, like, but that sounds sweet. Now it's fucking weird. Why does it go in and out? Weird. All right, double take. I don't know where I'm gonna be out on this one. Which one? SM58. Double check. Peace out. Peace out. Many good times on this one. Many good times. Can't hear myself yet, but I'm sure it's come through. Yeah, obviously a bit better, but still there was a bit of a shaky wakey. I can hear it come through, but hey, it sounds a bit better for now. Bit of a shame. Gotta hold it up. Now, see, there it goes. There it goes. It goes. It goes up. What about? Alright, but now back with the Dudley mic setup. Alright, but I'm learning. I'm grateful for all you out there listening and sticking with me. Whoa, you gotta hear that. That's a little bit good. Sorry for any feedback. Maybe doing this was going to change any. I just took a tourist here off from one of put in the serious, he was going to do anything. There's a delay, so I can't hear it. And no, it didn't. It did absolutely nothing. What can you do? What do you do? What can you do? All right. So to myself, it sounds absolutely clear because I'm running through the interface, right? Through my audio, and I thought it was going to sound hell clear, and at times it does, but then at times it's just muffled. But yeah, I can hear sweet at the moment, but then when it runs through YouTube, it's just no good. I'm hoping that I'll find a result for that problem pretty soon. I do have another interface which I will set up, but obviously next stream, if I do it and nobody like this, and I'm like this, and I'm just solo, I should just run through OBS. I should probably cut off now and do that, but I'll hang out for a bit while and just run it on this for a sec. Because this way, if I'm on OBS, I don't think I can. It's harder to like get anybody up. Not that anyone's up, but anyway. See how it goes. It's sounding cool right now. No. Gratitude though, much gratitude to all the people watching, man, sticking with me here. Like, if you get the thumbs up, even though I'm doing such a shit job, hey, it'll help. It'll help a kid out just trying to learn and make his way through. But if not, it's all good. I'll probably stay in. I don't want to like annoy people and just have a shit like stream left with all gritty vocal. So I best just hang on for another few minutes, and then I'll probably hop off and go onto OBS, and then what do you call it? I'll do a solo. But that sounds deaf clear through that. But fuck, that's a shame, bro. If anyone's got any topics or anything, pop them in the chat that you want to shout outs or anything like that. Do that and give it up. But as you can see, there was the reading earlier. Orwell, George Orwell, 1984. I read the first few pages there, so I thought I'd just give it a go, get into it, considering what we are at. And I'll continue to do so through the next ones. But if it's so jumbly, but I mean, I guess yeah, it'll be cool. And also look forward to putting some beat making tutorials. Like, have you got any music makers in the viewing audience? Anybody like making beats out there? If you do, write a comment or something. Because like I'm hell into that. Was professional musician for 3 years, lead vocalist of a like 9-piece band, and studied at a university. And yeah, can just like most all doors like digital audio workstations and audio engineers. So anyway, I love it. Music is my life, so I really just want to get that shit going. So from that, I mean, I can't really. It sucks, bro. Why is it doing what it's doing? You know, I don't realize because I don't know why. Like, it's fucking strange, man. Like, this is a really good. It just could be the positioning and the static around, but I don't know. Like, it's not because when I run it through OBS, it's fine, but something to do with the connection. Maybe Soundflower. I need Sunflower through StreamYard or something, or I don't know. But it's anyway. Here we go. We got people up here. Oh. Well, blessings out to the corona patients from. We got a message from Chappie. Shout out to all the patients diagnosed suffering this corona, the sick. Um, you know, not to dislike the corona, the virus. I was going to say just a twisted, unfortunate thing that it is. Um, it's spreading everywhere. I don't really follow too much, but hey, I've heard that it's hit probably 5 or 6 different countries. Thanks to Chappie, I know it's hit Germany. Hopefully, they get an antidote and they've got they'll be able to clear themselves of the virus. But touch wood to everybody, man. I'm blessing that anybody who hears this and views this is not exposed, or none of their loved ones are exposed. Like, sincerely, man. It's hard, bro. Imagine losing someone. I couldn't. I don't even want to think like that. So, but I think it's pretty hard not to think that because in a lot of people who do watch the news daily and things, this all they talk about every day is another person infected, another place infected, oh, blah, blah, quarantine, run down. So, I guess just eat healthy, rest well, stay in the right environment and be happy, man. That's a big part. I guess stress less and be happy, man, as much as you can. Even though I've got such a terrible mic and it's going rumbly rambly, I mean, that's cool. I'm gonna keep staying through, but it'll get through. I know it's good, man. I know this shit is good. It's just there's something going on. I don't know. It could be the port or something, but hey, it's fresh, man. And as I say, I'm happy that people are pulling through with me, man. It's not hundreds, it's not thousands, but it's going to grow and you get there. It don't even matter. All I care is that I do want to build an audience, obviously, but just like-minded people. If we've got about a 1,000, 5,000, that's it. Like, of that's cool. That's all I want. I prefer that than rather have 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers that just like watch it and then that's it. Like, people that put in content, man, and put in their whatever they're thinking, whatever they're feeling, they partake, because that's what it's about. I don't think, what I mean? There's always, you could say all sorts of shit, like, but a lot of people just too fraudulent, man. It's all they say. It's all about you. It's all about you. Oh, yes, but really, at the end of the day, it's fucking not. You see it in politicians, you see it in entertainers, you see it in YouTubers and shit. So, I don't know. I love music, and so that's what I really got to fucking get my shit together doing. But, alright, so it tells me it sounds better when I'm backing off the mic. Maybe you're hopefully around here, sounding good. You give me one. I think it's just going in and out. Like, it's just, it's not dependent on where I am. It's just staticky. But from where I am, this may be a good distance. If it sounds good, hit me up with one. I can see signal coming through. It's all green. So, it's weird. So, like, right close, maybe it doesn't sound as good. Or way, way close, it probably sounds really bad. But over here, maybe it sounds a bit better. We'll just chickity check. Oh, I'm missing one. Thanks. Appreciation everyone who's hit that like, though, man. I do appreciate that because I think it's shit. Spreads the shit around. But, what do we get? So, just to check, bro, like, Erskine Ramsey, one, if I'm pronouncing that right. Erskine Ramsey and Chappie. I say that's right. So yeah, man, much peace to you guys. Where you guys at? All right. Hopefully that's a one for the pronunciation. You guys from US, Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, the moon, Georgia, Georgia. Georgia on my mind. Or some shit like that. Anyway, I just know that's a song. Also, there's a few other rap songs. So you're from that. You in Atlanta? That ATL. But maybe not. Georgia's a very big place. But I've never been there. Fortunately, I've been to New York for 6 days. But yeah, that's about it. That's the only place in America I've been. I'd like to go. I'm sure it's very like the pictures I've seen in documentaries. It seems like green, in the sense that it's fertile land. Not foresty, but big trees and you know, what's that? Like not wildlife, but farm life. So you could have fresh livestock and shit. I don't know how the seafood would be. Is there a coast around Georgia? So I don't know. And how's this sounding? How am I sounding when I'm standing over here? Because I hope it ain't too whack. If it's going in and out, I should double check myself. But I just want it to be clear, bro. And it's bad that I'm like not looking at shit because I'm looking over here too. All right. Well, from that sense, it seems to be going okay, and things seem to be running clear. There's a hell delay, but um, let's just say from there. Nah, see, fucked up. It's fucked again. So now, if I come back, let's see if it does anything better that I've come back, and so like it makes a difference. No, man, if you say Vietnamese, you can understand me. Please excuse. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, okay, maybe. Thank you. Erskine Ramsey, you may have solved my problem, my friend. You may have solved my problem, Erskine. I'm very. No, you haven't, Erskine. Why is it going in and out, my brother? Ah. All right. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump off this one, much appreciation, and I'm gonna hit up OBS, and then hopefully it'll be much clearer. So I'm back within the next 10 minutes. If you guys want to join, much peace. Peace. Thank you. Hit the like, hit the shit, be the best, do what you want, and come back and join me, man. We're gonna get this shit rolling. Peace. You know how it is. You know how it is. You know how it is.